Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of Not So Daily Debunk. Now listen, mainly it's called Debunk because I want to debunk our disastrous, disgusting foundation that we've put together over the last couple of years in terms of our recruitment negotiation and why it has led to our current predicament, which is a massive issue. But also what looks to be concrete at the moment is that Lukaku should be at least hopefully moving to Inter Milan over the weekend. There's a green light that's been given over according to Sky Italia in terms of his move to Inter Milan. There's been a lot of back and forth in negotiations. We've been covering it. It's tiresome, absolutely tiresome, whether it be, the bid being we want 8 million, they offer 7.5, 5 million, 2 million add-ons, whatever have you will. Will we get a player in return? It will all hopefully come out over the weekend, but it is extremely frustrating that this deal is dragging on because, of course, as complicated as it is, we need to get it done. Whether we get a player in return or not, the player has got to come off our wage book so we can move on. Now, it's already we're starting to see that we are potentially going to be missing out on players potentially like Gabriel Jesus. Some people will say that's not our top target. Some people will say that we're more interested in Raheem Sterling, whatever have you will. It was a player that Tuchel liked, a player that reportedly Tuchel would have liked to have had at the club, that he would have used, and he was interested in the profile of Gabriel Jesus. But it looks like that player will be going to Arsenal because of a very common issue that appears and happens to come up every single transfer window at Chelsea, is that we have too many players on the books and too many players that are overpaid, overrated, and not really very valuable to come in from other clubs. And that's why we struggle to offload them. Take Liverpool, for example, who got rid of Origi very easily. Sadio Mane today is joined by Munich. These are players that they have offloaded and have replaced with Darwin Núñez, but they're easy to offload because they're not on expensive pay packages. They're not on high wages, but also because they are rated out there in Europe, and clubs see it as an opportunity to bring in these players and not something that is going to be daylight robbery, which is what we're asking them to do with a lot of our players, is to come in and overpay them in terms of wages. And obviously our valuations for players are always a lot higher than maybe they should be because of the amount of money we paid for them. And therefore then we are trying to save our pride and save face by asking for the same overpaid price that we paid, which we're not going to get from these European clubs who want to appear broke. But, whether they are or not, Inter Milan, Barcelona, we shall see. And we can go through the whole squad. Really, the only position that you could say that you could be very frustrated, and understandably so as a Chelsea fan, as to why we have not got Koundé through the door yet. It's a player that wants to join us, a player that, yes, he had the hamstring injury, but that obviously required surgery. But both clubs know about it prior, and there is space in the centre-back position for rejuvenation, for recruitment. We have space at centre-back. We have let go of two seniors. We need a centre-back. We need two, but we need a centre-back. There is space. There isn't space at wing-back. There isn't space at central midfield. There isn't space up front. Until somebody goes, there isn't space. Now, I understand the frustration. I've seen many people say it in my comment sections, and many people even say it to me on Twitter. Why don't we just bring in the players that we want first and then get rid of the players that we don't want after? Now, of course, as a fan, we would love that to be the case. That actually means that our team progresses, it moves forward, we actually improve the team, we get our top targets, etc. But unfortunately, from a business standpoint, we can't do that because then, well, they will see it as, if we do that, then we have too many players on our roster. If we don't get rid of them, how are we going to pay all these players? It also puts us in a weak negotiation position for players when we sign, say we sign two attackers, we sign a left wing back. Now we have 6 left wing backs on the book. Now we have 8, 9 attackers on the books. Opposition teams know that. They lowball us even more, and therefore we're weaker in negotiation. Now, you could argue that we're not even in strong negotiation position as it is for a lot of these players. Take Timo Werner, for example, a player that is part of the trio, the tremendous trio of Ziyech, Pulisic, and Timo Werner. 3 players that have reportedly been available for transfer for the last month or so. 3 players that are deemed unhappy with their playing time. Not a single singular bastard bid has come in for any of these players. That's absurd, really, when they're available. But it's not, is it? Because, again, the only person that really probably represents value for money at the moment is probably Ziyech. We only paid 34 million. That's pretty easy to level off. But where is the bid? Where is the bid for our players? And that's why we're in this position where we miss out on a Jesus potentially. We don't make an official bid for a Jesus because there is no space. Dembele maybe is the exception at the moment because, of course, he's free and we're in competition with Barcelona and PSG for his contract. But in terms of actually purchasing a player and outlaying a contract, a 5-year deal for someone, we can't do that until we get players off the books, potentially. And that is slowing us down. And it's because Timo Werner's on 270k and Gabriel Jesus makes 110. Who do you go for? You know, I have to ask you at home listening, or wherever you are. If I was to name you the wage packages of certain players, Ruben Loftus-Cheek on 150, you know, if I was to name you Alonso versus Kostic at Frankfurt, who would you buy? You would go and get Kostic. You would find a cheaper alternative wage-wise than Ruben, who's obviously being linked with Lazio along with Emerson. Emerson, reason why not being at Lyon currently is because they couldn't afford his wage package. Again, we overpay players. We sign players up onto big contracts. We don't go with the Liverpool model of incentivizing their contract and giving them a low base and then making them build up to it based on achievement. But what we do by doing that, yes, we get our players. Well, we used to get our players when we wanted them because we overpay them. But then if they don't perform, then we can't move them on. And that, for me, has got to stop. We have to learn from this current moment that we're in, the last couple of windows where we haven't been able to bring in our key targets in key positions. We need to learn from that and understand why that is. And that is because of our old recruitment that we've been, our business that we've been dealing with, our negotiations. And that's why we have the second biggest wage bill, what we had before all of this transfer news started. I'm sure maybe Man City, I don't know who's overtaken us, depending on their wages that they've offered for Erling Haaland, etc. But we're definitely still in a precarious position. So, you know, again, you know, I flag it up. That midfield, you got about 9 midfielders on your books. If you are chasing a Declan Rice, if you're wondering why is Chelsea not put in an official 75 or 70 or 65 million pound bid for Declan Rice, you need a DM, go and get the DM. You need the DM, you know, Basuma passes to Tottenham, maybe he was on the top target. You know, Sangare at PSV, maybe he's a target. Why is there no bid? Well, there's no bid because Chelsea currently employ Ruben, Gallagher, Mason, Kovacic, Kante, Jorginho, Billy Gilmour, Ampadu. That's about, what, 9 players? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a lot of players in one position. We have lots of depth. Chelsea do not struggle to have depth. They don't struggle to have... they struggle to have quality depth, but they don't struggle to have depth. We have about 5 left wing backs on our books, I think, if you include Ian Matson and Baba Rahman. 3 right wing backs if you include Sterling. We have a lot of players, guys. A lot of players. We have about, what, Broya's back, 8 attackers in 3 positions. We have a lot of players, guys. A lot of players. But we have too many players that don't really move the needle. Too many players that we don't really need. Too many players that we're too emotionally attached to that we don't want to make definitive decisions on. I keep saying it. You can't play them all. You can't keep them all. Make a decision on Loftus-Cheek. Make a decision on Loftus-Cheek. Are we keeping him? If we are we moving to a midfield 3 where he's best, where he played in the Sarri days? Same for Gallagher, Palace, 3-man midfield. Mason, 8 position. Vitesse, Derby, loan development, 3-man midfield. If you want all of these midfielders, then occupy the room for them or get rid of some. Centre-backs. We don't have many centre-backs. Are we going to buy enough centre-backs to be able to play the back 3? Or are we going to play a back 2? We look like we're going to play a back 3, so go and get the centre-backs. I understand that we're not everybody's preference. We are the bridesmaid at the moment for a lot of players. They want to go to Barcelona. Lewandowski, if we was to replace him with Lukaku, he prefers Barcelona. Koulibaly prefers Barcelona. Koundé, they want, potentially Barcelona want Koundé. Although we should really be ahead in that move there. And this applies for a lot of players. But we need to start aligning our shit properly after this window. I think this window is going to be a bit of a mess. We may not get everything done that we need to get done. So prepare yourselves for that, Chelsea fans. I don't think you should be even really that surprised or disappointed if we weren't to get everything done, because what we need to get done is a lot. You could definitely say 2 attackers. You could say at least minimum 1 wing back that can play both sides. You could say 2 centre backs, a DM, a goalkeeper, a backup goalkeeper for Kepa. There's a lot. There's a lot to get done. And to expect it all to get done in one window is unrealistic, and you're setting yourself up for disappointment. However, when we sign players now, I will be looking at them wages, like I said, and we need to be making sure that those wages and just the overall package is a lot more sensible. A lot more sensible, because it's all good cutting your losses, but only if the player is willing to take a wage cut, only if the player is willing to go to that club. And we'd have a lot more clubs interested for our players who we're struggling to move on, and we have been for years, if we didn't pay them stupid money and we didn't pay stupid transfer fees that made us look stupid in 12 months' time, i.e. Lukaku. In hindsight, of course, because I wanted him in, but this deal does seem to be coming. Hopefully the green light over the weekend, he will be leaving. And it'll be interesting to see whoever leaves, who else leaves. There's not many that I really will get flustered over them moving and being transferred out, but we need to get players out the door. As much as we need players in, I am just as concerned about who is leaving. And like I said, the wage structure is backwards. The team has been built backwards. And therefore, if we don't sort our shit out, we will be moving backwards. You can see the other clubs moving. It's not time for panic, but it is definitely time to be sitting up like a meerkat on Animal Planet and being awake. Arsenal, you know, it's a club that I don't really feel threatened by, but they're definitely making moves. You can see, you know, whether it be, you know, Vieira, whether it be Martinez from Ajax, whether it be Tielemans. I'm not even thinking to myself that all of these guys are needle movers, but they're definitely trying to do things. They're trying to be better. We have only got worse as of yet. We have not yet improved. Have we yet even balanced ourselves out from 2020? I don't think so. We are probably slightly worse because, of course, we've lost 2 centre-backs and we've yet to replace them. So I need to see more. And I'm not going to keep wasting your time and waffling talking about the same stupid rumors that keep going round and round and round and round, the same communications, the same vibrations, the same fucking scouting, talking, visiting, monitoring, communicating, interesting. I want bidding. I want official bidding. And I know why there's not official bidding, but we need to see official bidding. And Marina and whoever's running this show, you need to really suck in your pride potentially on some of these deals. I want Alonso at Barcelona by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I don't care about the fee, and neither should you, because he's blocking paths. And it's funny because people will say, well, you don't want to get robbed. You don't want to lose, you know, the value of the player. We should still negotiate a good fee. We have lost young players in his position that play wing back for £3 million that will now be worth 30. We have lost more money on letting go of talented young players that don't get renewable contracts because there is no space, because there is too much dead wood, than we will if we let go of these players at cheap fees. I turn your attention to Harvey Vale and Charlie Webster, who we need to renew contracts for. Actual technical players that will be much better for our squad in the future than Ross Barkley. But again, because he makes too much money, he's still sitting here. He's still blocking and still picking up wage, and it's still pissing me off. So that's my rant over, and I'll see you tomorrow. And I think what my new series will be is I will be starting to tell you why a certain player should leave and which club they should go to. And hopefully that club is having shit recruitment and go to YouTube videos from YouTubers and decide that, yeah, this is great analysis and I'm going to take Werner to Bayern Munich, or I'm going to take this player, maybe Emerson or whoever it will be. I'm going to take that player because my video just makes so much sense. That's going to be my new series. I need to start trying to sell them myself, because if we don't, who will? Smash up the icons. Let me know what you think about the potential outgoings that we have discussed. Obviously, Lukaku, green light. Emerson, Loftus-Cheek, interest from Lazio, it would appear. Kepa, interest from Lazio. So much interest. Bid for our players, people, and let us bid for yours. We are trying to make moves here. We need to make moves here. We are tired. We are hungry. We want to feast, okay? So until next time, big up your damn selves. Let me know what you make of everything that I've discussed, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Big up your damn selves. Peace. Perfect.